Okay, that should be me. Ads should be about to end. Oh, helping friends move. Yeah, that can be fun, can I? Hope you didn't put your back out or anything. I don't know what happens to me when helping stuff. Okay, let's bring up Kaizu. Just a couple of scratches. Okay, so you made it through. You're fine. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Okay. Moving this ton heavy shelf with two people through a cellar. Oh, oh. You mean your friend didn't have light furniture? Well, everyone had IKEA furniture these days, which means that you have to be careful it just doesn't fall apart, but it's not particularly heavy. So, joy. Okay. Oh dear. Okay. Oh, or wood heavy thing. Yeah, which I say that, and I've made furniture. I've made like shelves and stuff that would be an absolute horror to move. So, like for the kitchen and stuff, made like pantry shelving. Um, yeah, I won't want to move that. Anyway, okay, so let's get this week started with Kaizu. So over the weekend, I did make some progress on some of the uh, I did make some progress with some of the delivery stuff. So we start the new week with a new challenge. Good morning, Doctor. Hope you're well. So we've been working towards this delivery tab, and the idea being that ultimately we'll be able to see where things sit in terms of release. So we now have a releases screen, as we saw last week, and in here you can plan your release. The idea is that a person is assigned to the release. They're kind of like the coordinator for that release, and that could be a manager, that could be a developer, it could be anyone who's going to be responsible for going out and asking people, if you finish with this stuff, is this stuff going to be in there, and coordinating that release. And then we have a screen for, you can see the release. Here's the things that are going to go into this release. Here's the progress of those items. Because you could have a task assigned to a release, and just because it's in progress doesn't mean it can't be assigned to the release, right? This is a planning tool. So we can kind of get a picture for, oh, this can go in this release, this can't go in this release. And you can click on this and bring up the detail. You can, like the estimate doesn't really matter to this screen, but the estimate is there. And, it's not assigned, it's in the backlog. So that's not going anywhere, right? We can add a task. And right now you can search. This will only show tasks that are not assigned to a release. So if I assign DB2, that will go into the release. That will update the numbers. DB2 is now in there. If I go back in here, I can't select DB2 again. Right now, it's very simple. You have to know the tasks. Ultimately, I want to do some search by initiative or requirements and deliverables, and also this should be grouped by requirements and deliverables. But I'm not. I'm trying to hold back on the overthought and deliver the feature, so that I can kind of put that into practice later. I could work on this infinitely, right? While I consider all the different possibilities. So we start to get a picture of what delivery looks like. And there's a little bit of mess. There's a little bit of stuff that doesn't necessarily flow smoothly. But I think we're getting there. That should be assigned to someone as well. That can be assigned to UB. So yeah, we're making progress. So now I'm moving to the fun phase, right? Which is trying to figure out what state these things are in. Right. So we got associated tasks, we got all those sorts of those pieces working. But to really do this delivery any good, I need to kind of put some idea of, are there things blocking things? Are there things outstanding? Because complete could be co-complete, but complete and ready are two different things, right? Because the PRs might not have been merged. So I want to at least provide that functionality into the application so that you can understand, okay, we know there's a PR out there, that release manager can follow up, or release coordinator, we won't go with the word manager because it elicits pictures of authority. But that release coordinator can go and follow up with the right people and say, hey, the PRs aren't done on this. Is there any idea of when they'll be done? We're waiting on this release. And they can prioritize it, right? The visibility provides priority. So what I've been doing is kind of started to plot out the pieces. Now I can't show some of this stuff because I don't know if I will show too much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a GitHub app, or I've built a GitHub app, and I'm going to build the coordinator into the code, right? So we're going to have a GitHub library here. And what this is going to do, that's interesting, is this is going to receive events from GitHub and process them and update individual services with events. So a PR has been made, a release has been tagged, etc. Those things are possible. And I've been going through, and I've kind of, what I've done is I've kind of worked with Claude to kind of get a set of instructions for myself, so I can kind of fall through on what that looks like. So let's see. Make sure that, yeah. So here we go. So I've kind of worked with Claude to produce a document, and that document gives me, here's roughly what you need to do to configure the scaffolding for getting the events into here. And I'm using SME. I can't show SME because it has a key attached to it, and if you get that key, you can receive all the GitHub events for anything that that is added to my application. So I have to start again. Did you not stream Thursday? I did not stream on Wednesday. Correct. Yes. Yeah. Wednesday evenings are a little hard now because I want to do karate. So 6-8 is not possible. 6-9 is not possible on a Thursday, on a Wednesday now. So I'll have to figure out a different schedule there. But I'll still do the Mondays and Thursday morning streams. I might do a Wednesday morning stream for now, but we'll see. I know my Wednesday evening streams are a bit late for you anyway. So yeah. Okay. So anyway, I might go back to just 3 mornings for now, because as much as I want to do the stream, karate is something I want to really do more. So yeah. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to proceed through these instructions, kind of build out the GitHub integration piece, see if we can make that work. Because I'm going to have to, I'm going to create a dummy repo, add in. What am I going to do there? So the way the GitHub app works is I should be able to go to here, github.com tbd develop here, and settings. Let me move that off and make sure I know what I'm seeing. Applications. Um, I realize I don't know how to add an application. Never mind. Oh, I'll do it from within the app. Sorry, yes, I need to request it from within the app. So what will happen is I'll add a screen in the settings page for configuration, and you'll be able to say add GitHub. And when you click that, it will add the GitHub app on the other side, and that will now be in your organization. And then all events from your organization's GitHub repos will pass to me. At the ones that are authorized, which are like pull request, branch, release, etc. made, and then I can pull them out and understand based upon the GitHub repo, the GitHub organization, which tenant it goes to. So this application is going to be, that's why it's out at this level rather than the application level. This will receive every event for every tenant, and then will distribute that. So this has its own auth, which is something that I've got to learn more about. So yeah, I'll switch to the latest version, make sure I'm on the right path. So I'm learning here. I'm learning a lot here going through this. We will see. It's funny, I asked it for instructions on how to build out the GitHub piece, and it just keeps trying to tell me, oh, create a GitHub library, add to Aspire. Like, it will not tell me the code unless I explicitly prompt it for the code. um, oh, there you go. It's funny. But it's made me realize just how kind of, not dependent, but once I start asking AI for things, I want AI to do more for me, and I'm less concerned with thinking for myself, which is something that's been irritating me. So I'm going to try and make sure I understand all these pieces quite well. I don't want AI to write the code, that's for certain. Okay, so this project is going to, we're going to set up an endpoint in here that is going to have receive the GitHub webhooks. So I need to get an idea of what those messages they're going to post to that. And we're going to test it. So this is going to take a few days of work, I think, because there's a lot of learning that comes with it. And then when I'm ready to test it, I run Shmee locally, and I might be able to. I don't know. I might be able to run that as part of Aspire, so I know it's running. And that way, when Aspire starts up, Shmee starts up, and then I can know that events are going to redirect. Should probably be the best way. Okay, so we're going to do. No, I don't need you right a second. Updating your car insurance. Car insurance is good. Uh-oh. Oh, we're on a different version. Tell me the updated fast endpoints. The updated fast endpoints. No? They're just implicits. Why don't you install them? Oh, what did I do? Properties. No, .NET 10. Root namespace is make sure that's are you not actually do you get it? Restore. This is annoying. So I suppose I should get in here. So the way this is going to work is we're going to have, I suppose it's kind of out there. No. GitHub. And this will go, kind of sits and will go into Kafka, right? Let's flip those arrows. Good. So it will publish events into Kafka for domains that are registered to it. So we'll store the fact that I don't know why I did that. I've just gone and done something I shouldn't have done. Never mind. Anyway, so GitHub will push and pull from Kafka. It will get those events and publish them out. So new plants planted. Wish me luck that the soil is fertile. Good luck. Plants are not my thing. Organization management will be our configuration for GitHub, right? So when we click the GitHub button, we'll register the fact that the organization has GitHub connected. In there, we'll publish, hey, the GitHub's been connected. We'll push that to the view so we can show that they are connected and whatever information we need, and that will register them as being that organization will be. Hopefully I'll be able to get it. That the organization will link, and then we'll notify the GitHub piece that says, okay, this organization is receiving events, which means that if you were to try and push events to this GitHub API endpoint. Now, the weird thing for me is this is public, right? This has to be on the same level as the gateway, right? It's kind of also receiving messages. Yes, I'm connecting deliverables to GitHub. Or rather, I'm connecting the task to GitHub, so you can associate a task with a reference. It'll look for it. Yeah. For right now, GitHub, but not in the long term. I'd put GitLabs and other tools in there. This is the first piece, though. Wouldn't it be better to make abstract facade programming in between? Not right now, being that I don't understand what I'm doing. So I can worry about abstraction and facades later. Right now, I'm going to focus on GitHub. And again, only this is the GitHub thing. The messages that go in here don't necessarily need to be GitHub. They can just be events that say a PR has been made, etc., and have the source. So it can still be abstracted. It's not difficult to abstract here. Like, I'm not building this into the application, right? I don't need to worry about patterns being. I don't understand all the pieces I need right this second. So yeah, Kafka will give me that disconnect in the way that this GitHub integration is going to publish events to say a PR has been made, a branch has been made, etc. And I can, if that's GitLabs or GitHub, it doesn't really matter. You just get which integration it is. So it's easily done, but I don't know what I'm doing yet. I don't know all these pieces. Once I understand the pieces more, I can then worry about abstraction. But abstracting too early is not something I want to do. My general rule for abstraction is if I 100% know that I'm going to need a second version, then yeah, I can abstract. But write the code, then abstract when you find the second option. Although I'm still a bad interface user, so I suppose there's some exceptions to that rule. I still create interfaces when I know I only have one thing, but even that I'm trying to learn ways around. Why is this whining at me? New project, web API, source, GitHub. UML APIs, disable open API. Create. That works for me. We don't need open API on this piece. Nice. Okay. So, so we have GitHub. Let's do liquid sky.github is the root namespace. Okay. Okay, so we got that. And then we're going to introduce fast endpoints. Okay, that installed this time. That's fine. Okay, and taking so long now. We're going to have features. Actually, there's not much to this one because this is really not going to return. So this is more endpoints. And the first one is webhook and endpoint. So can you point me at the documentation? So one thing I learned already is that even though the documentation for GitHub application is up to date, the AI somehow managed to identify the wrong instructions and sent me off on a wild goose chase. So I'm going to ask it for the parameters, right? So public record parameters. This is going to be an endpoint. I don't know if we're going to need requests and everything here. Oh joy. HMAC. Hold on. Let's see if this is real. AutoKit. Oh, that's old. Async-based GitHub API client library for .NET and Core. That makes me worry that that isn't updated. January 8th, 2025. Yeah, that's April 14th, 2026. This looks more up to date, doesn't it? AutoKit. So this should be a library to help. That's last year. AutoKit webhooks. Libraries to handle GitHub webhooks. Stop. I can't. My monitor just keeps turning off. Register implementation, use endpoints. Oh, so it registers its own endpoint. Okay. Well, that's a different challenge then, isn't it? No worries, Delta. I'm going to be right back so I can fix this monitor. There you go. Okay. That should be me back. Okay. So, okay, well, we'll do it that way then. We won't even use fast endpoints. We'll just use that. I like. It's much better than. So that's a bug. If I'm using central package management, for some reason, when I delete the package from or I remove the reference from a single project, it says, "Oh, you've removed the last package. Do you want to remove it? Do you want to remove it from there?" And you say yes, and then all of a sudden, every other package loses a reference. It's done. So this is AutoKit webhooks. Let's install that. It is from GitHub, so it's legit. Create a class that derives from webhook event processor. Why are you taking so long to sync? Processors. Um, 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 oh, okay. Protected override. process. Oh, you can do, oh, oh, you do individual events here. Awesome. So let's go here. Let's remove that. Let's remove that. Await, run async. Builder, GitHub, webhook processor, and then app. Use endpoints, endpoints, endpoints dot map. Oh, where are you coming from then? Oh, missing a package. Missing that one. So there's Azure functions and okay, cool. Map GitHub webhooks takes two optional parameters. Path defaults to API GitHub webhooks, which is what we need it to be, I believe. And secret Azure functions. Okay, so that's it. That's all we need. So what do you want? What? Suggest using save use endpoints. Level route registrations instead of use endpoints. ASP14. Right, but that's not possible here because unless they've created an equivalent app dot map. Oh no, there you go. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so now in here we would receive individual events. Yeah, because yeah. So we'd receive. Wow. Wow. So my intent is to show um, branches being created, PRs being made, or rather, like when a branch is made, link it to an actual project or an actual task. I did actually do some mock-up stuff over here. So the idea being that you'll be able to see the PRs open against it. Here's the branch, and here's the PR title. If there's multiple branches because you've got different projects, yeah, like screen layout and API endpoints, you'd see the different branches. So that's kind of where I'm heading right this second. So we have to. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. Ad starts in about a minute. Okay, so that's the basics of that. Now, what else do I want to do here? What's going to happen is my Aspire host is going to start that as well. And then I've got to figure out if I can start Shmi up with the app host. So we're going to do configuration, GitHub service extensions. I'm using GitHub specifically here because right now I'm not sure about whether other things will come through the same webhooks because they're Git based. I assume not. I assume GitLab probably has their own version of this, but we'll find out later. So this is just a way of neatening up the organization of public static. No, app module. Oh yeah. So we have something like that. That's GitHub services, and this is just going to be API right this second, and GitHub services, add GitHub services. Helps if I'm consistent on that naming as well. Does it actually want to correct that? Oh no, I GitHub services, and then that's going to be a this. Okay, this builder, and we need to reference the project. And then we can do builder.add project, GitHub, book API, and then we can return, that's that for now. And then over here, we can do var GitHub equals builder.GitHub services. Actually, we don't need anything with that right this second, so that we're fine. Let's do that after everything else has died. So that's added. That's good. Now we need to get an idea of what the events look like. So we have a library to receive it, which is good, right? So what do we do here now? Use AutoKit. What Aspire? Phase 2. Yeah. So I have 2 documents. The first one is a lot more comprehensive. This covers never mind, it's fine. This covers the database schema and stuff. Now, this is for the organization management piece. I've done the GitHub, yeah, GitHub adapter would be to see how this goes. This is going to be this is going to be challenging. GitHub integration adapter. So organization management will track, hey, you've logged in. The idea will be that in your tenant you can add multiple organizations, right? So if you break up your application across multiple organizations, or you have several projects referenced, whatever, you can still have them all coordinated into one. Task branch references, task pull request references. I get that. In GitHub integration, webhook idempotency log. Idempotency. Where this lives in the adapter. So again, the idea here is that, and I need to get my head around these pieces. I'm thinking that this will deal with the auth for me, so I'm okay there. Class library, source, GitHub.application. Is I'm actually namespacing these for the purpose of being clear that it's my GitHub and I'm not trying to reference any GitHub stuff. But normally I don't attach Liquid Sky to any of these at all. Just too much noise. Application, new project, source, GitHub.infrastructure. There's not much in the way of domain here, but we'll follow the pattern anyway. Liquid Sky. New project, source, GitHub.domain. This always worries me, following something blindly just because it fits with everything else that sits there. Should you do different things based upon different projects? Probably. Also, one day I do want to get to testing what happens if I want to introduce a completely different language into this infrastructure as a whole. It shouldn't really matter, but I do have the potential. If I want to speed things up, or if I need a heavy processing piece, then maybe I can build that in a different language, and still hook into the entire environment. And I think that'd be kind of a really good experiment. So go back to this GitHub, the webhook idempotency log. Now, the receiver outline. Yeah. Yep. Now, there is the argument to be had of, the entire environment's in .NET. Why would you want to do that? However, there are scenarios where it might make sense to do that. So yeah, or having it as a bigger full-fledged product with multiple teams, right? And expertise, right? I'm a big believer of not straying from your primary language, because even if it's slightly slower than this other language over here, the benefits in having core competencies outweigh the speed difference, right? However, if you do need massive amounts of processing and .NET isn't for some reason up to that task, then maybe you do want to consider that. Or again, you want to integrate a separate system with the overall thing, then that language is yeah. Because ultimately, because of the way this is designed, I could pick and choose which pieces make up a system, right? So I could potentially have a subsystem of this, and ticketing might be actually a good example of that. When I get to the building of a ticketing system, this support/ticketing system, this won't really have the same UI. Potentially, it won't live inside of Liquid Sky. It would be its own project. So this could kind of sit outside, but then integrate in. I could build that in whatever I wanted to build it in, because I can integrate later. So, but anyway, that's for dreams of later, right? That's not for now. View receivers. Love how it's decided that this is going to be on 50/50 no matter what. It is on 5269 or 7035. Sorry, that's funny. It's determined that that's going to be on 50/50. Migrations, GitHub connections, web idempotency log, new Aspire project, webhook receiver. I'm pausing because I'm not quite certain on whether I want to implement this the way that it's prompting me to. Like, I get the why. I miss my old ticketing system that I wrote for the previous company. Yeah. I like writing those sorts of programs. I like writing tools. I wrote a CMS for a previous company with like full sale pipeline. That was fun when a reporting application. I wrote a support tool there as well. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. Apex, thank you very much for 28 months. I appreciate that. Hope you are well. Okay. So this morning we are working on, we've kind of built out what a release is, so you can now add tasks. I won't show it. No. It's not hooked up. Nothing's running right this second. So you can kind of add tasks to a release, and now this is what is defined as the Q2 2026 release. And now I'm building in the ability to have GitHub, a GitHub application hooked up, so that you can actually know the PRs and stuff outstanding. So I'm kind of going slowly through these pieces because it's all a new world for me. Yeah. What I'm trying to determine is, like, what does, like, this webhook processor, we brought branches and PRs. Those are the two we care about right now. So when a branch is made, we want to trap that, and when a PR is made, we want to trap that. Now, I think, based upon what I'm reading here, this is assuming that every single thing that comes through this will get posted out. And I think what I might want to do is when I register the GitHub application, that's when I tell this, oh, by the way, now you need to do something. But I probably don't need to do that because you'll have to. There's an order of operations there. We once had a company party where we also invited the users of our application. They said they didn't like the most of the application except the ticket system. That made me like, nice, nice. That's Did you tell them you were the author of the ticket system beforehand? Did they know that? Were they just buttering you up? Boring regular or getting distracted with TV's experience yapping. My yapping, huh? I'll see how it is. So push to a branch, delete event on a branch. So this is interesting because we might have a GitHub topic to subscribe to that has different events. We'll see. Organization management policies, connection created, connection revoked, published by tasks. Webhook receiver. So we're going to do the traditional. You've got to have you've got to have a project reference. So PHX3. So we're going to look for that in the title of the branch or the branch that you're doing. We can extend that probably. The PR. That's going to be an interesting one. We always put the title of the. We don't put the reference in the PR name. Well, it's a PR for a branch, I suppose. It doesn't matter. Yeah. View receivers and read models. So I'm just kind of debating before I proceed too far that I understand what it is this is doing. So this is suggesting that I have a item potent table on the GitHub adapter that takes the delivery ID, the received data, and the event type. But I'm going to have to process right through this. What's this camera doing, by the way? It's doing pretty good. Reference the camera that I'm on now. This is the OBS Bot 3 Lite or OBS Bot 2 Lite. 2 Lite, I think it is. It does much better in low light than the digital camera. It also does tracking as well, so if I move around a bit, it'll keep an eye on me. So we need to. Sunny, rainy, snowy. Sunny recently. Oof. It's 40 Fahrenheit here today. High of like 55. And in the week, highs of in the low 60s. So we open our pool in less than 2 weeks. So yeah, it's hoping. Oh, 2 weeks today, actually. Oof. That means what? What 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 week are we on? April. Oh wow. Oof, nice. That means I'm 1 week away from a. I turn 46 next week. Okay. What I'm stuck on is I'm stuck because of this design. I'm not sure how this helps me. Like I get the deduplication, but I don't know how it helps me because of the way I've designed my system, and it's not quite getting me. It seems like New Jersey's that way recently, or most of the US as well. Yeah, it's like, hey, you've had a couple of 80-degree days. Get out of here. Let's get back to the 40s. So I'm just kind of stuck on this idempotency or idempotency concept because I'm not. I receive an event from GitHub. I process that event and then I push it out to a queue. So I suppose it is a queue, isn't it? Because I don't want to be taking a lot of time to capture the event because I could be receiving hundreds or thousands of these events in a relatively short amount of time. If I sit there and say, oh well, I need to go and determine whether I should post it or whatever, or what type of event it is, etc., then I'm going to have a delay, and then if the rest of my system is unavailable, is that really a problem? Don't mind me if I'll just talk to myself. I'm just trying to get this right in my head before I actually start. Oh, it does? Hold on. Well, it's kind of why I bought it, because it will deal with me fidgeting a little bit more. But if it keeps zooming me in and out, I can turn it down a little bit. Normal tracking. There you go. It should be a little less. Zone tracking. Enable the camera will only track within the user-defined range. Please click on the Settings tab. Oh, that still moves. Sorry, it's amusing. The reason I got the OBS camera was because A, it was like for $120, and B, because it was a decent 4K camera, and B, it was because I do want to stand more over the summer. Get the machine set up differently, and I fidget and I move, and then I can walk around a little bit more and have the camera stop by me. So yeah, Brightbird, good morning. So you just wanted to tell Taji. He put the seed in there. I looked at the camera and saw the price, and I was like, ooh. And it's for the size of this thing. This thing is tiny, by the way. This is a regular webcam size, with a little gimbal on it. And yeah, it's. I mean, again, you can see it deals pretty well with my movement, and it's pretty smooth. So I've been looking for a new sit-stand desk. Yeah, the one I have right now is a Flexi Spot, and it's really sturdy. It's got a lot of stuff on it, and even when it's at its full height, I lean on it pretty heavily, and it's fine. So I can definitely recommend the Flexi Spots. I think it was like $600 this one. Okay, so what I'm trying to determine is that log there a queue? No, it's not. Okay. Of course it's not. I get it now. Brain works. So we receive the event from GitHub. We record the fact that we've seen the event from GitHub after we've checked to see if we've seen that event. And then we publish our event. It should still mean we have a very small time, but this is probably one of the services that I need to be prepared to scale quicker. Because if we crash, right? The log is a set of things I've already handled. If its only purpose is to make repeat deliveries safe. Git waits for your 200. Within 10 seconds, you process in line, you reply. Okay, so we need to return 200. Right. Okay, I get it now. I get it now. Okay, let's go over here. I have started branching my prereqs library where I put my migrations as well. So that's a thing. Again, yeah, I'm looking at introducing GitHub integration. Now we've got the release. So the purpose of this is you will be able to find tasks, and again you'll have a release manager, so our release coordinator. I gotta stop using the word manager because it suggests authority. Anyone could be the release coordinator, and their job is to go out and figure out which tasks are going to live in this release. You go and find the tasks, add them to the release. You can kind of get an idea of these things. If things are off schedule, again, we'll be able to warn. You've got a target date. This target date is looking less likely, being that there's things that aren't tested, etc. And things that don't have PRs, etc. So right now we're just showing the basics, but the goal is for you to be able to track all the work that's going to go into a release, independent of the regular boards, right? So rather than have, why did I do that? This is using the memory. So this is using what's in the memory. So if I navigate to a page that requires loading, that's going to be a challenge. So yeah, let's do this. Let's create. New database. ls. I'm thinking I don't want to call this ls GitHub. Source control. No, let's call this ls GitHub for now. Webhook. Ons. So um, in this particular case, I'm creating a new database, and all of them, they, by the way, have gone and written a prompt to go and create that table, that database migration for me. It'll create a script um, in here for me for right this second. Um, so yeah, eventually what I'll do is I'll make it collapse all these into a set of scripts, and then I'll wipe out my databases and restart again. And then that's the point in time migration. While there's nothing live, that is perfectly fine. And even if something's live, I think that you should go through the effort of collapsing all the migrations into what is the snapshot now quite frequently. It's really messy to track migrations. You should be at a point where you can say, okay, well, this is the database as it stands right now. There is no 6 months of migrations to catch up on, right? Or 2 years of migrations to catch up on. You should be able to say, yep, we know where we are. We've run all these migrations. Just become a kind of historical thing. So this will create a script in here, a migration script number 18, hopefully, which will create that database in that table. And then we'll end up with ls GitHub in here. Now, it won't be called ls GitHub eventually, right? But I think if I spend time trying to consider, what could it be? Going back to my earlier conversation about right now, this is GitHub integration. This is not general source control integration. This is not general webhook integration. This is GitHub specific integration that I'm dealing with. When I come to develop the second integration, let's say I go to GitLabs, I look at how different those things are, and then I decide how much I can reuse, how much overlaps. If they're really close to each other, then yeah, I've got a clean abstraction. But even then, if GitLabs is a completely separate service that sits there, or whether it sits in the same project as this, it doesn't matter because the messages that are going to be produced are going to it's going to have the concept of GitHub, but it will abstract the fact that it's because all I care about is a PR or a branch. So this should be creating that script. That's 18. So it says create a new database, ls GitHub, create a new table, grant the connect, grant everything else, alter the defaults, and then what should happen is we've also updated create databases. I know as ls GitHubbing. It's also applied this, by the way. So that's probably already there. So if you are new to the stream, if you've never been here before, you're more than welcome to ask any questions. Any thoughts, opinions on what you see, you're more than welcome to share. I'm happy to talk about this stuff. Yeah, man. You actually. There is actually a table in here, applied migrations, and that tracks what's been run. So ls GitHub, because it's not been checked, is there. So it won't run those migrations again. So I can look at the public schema here. One table, webhook idempotency log. And that is exactly as specified. The deliver ID, receive that, etc. So now let's create idempotency log. I really don't like that name. Also, that's a singular table name. Oh well. Public string delivery ID. Public time delivered at. I'll receive that. Public string event type. So I suppose the first step for me would be to see if I can get here. Now, the big challenge I have with this is I've got to do a whole lot of stuff before I can even get to testing this. I've got to set up all this. I've got to set up the database. I've got to set up the service. I've got to set up Shmi locally to point to this. And yeah, there's a whole lot of moving parts that will get easier. But yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff to deal with. So over here, we're going to introduce entity framework 4. Do I deal with? I think I do. Not tickets is not a good example because it's the most out of date. Is your mic level loud? I think I hear clipping. I could be talking a little louder than I should be doing. Yes, that should be a bit. Whoa, is that? It was peaking. I've just lowered it 15 decibels. And hello, Phil Sample. Is that better? It was. Oh, even now it's bouncing up into the red. I'm easily able to make it go up there. Let me know. You don't want to blast everyone's ears out. EF. Oh yeah, okay. So we do introduce Postgres, etc. NPG SQL, EF Postgres. That's fine. March 12th. That means I've probably missed an update somewhere. Okay, so I go and add. Come on. Ads are going to come up in about 3 minutes. Context, configuration, and this is going to be webhook idempotency log configuration. Idempotency. What do we use? Builder.toTable. I'm going to be a little cheaty this time rather than try and type that again. I have to say it every time, that's the problem. As key, that k goes to k.delivery ID. And we have application DB context. And this is, I haven't written one of these in a good long while. We haven't needed a new service of any significant size. Oh no. Uh, Contexts, tenant administration context, DB context options. Okay. All the standard. Options, base, options. Oh, it inherits from DB context. Options. There you go. Ooh, that's very loud. So then we use, let's go and do the normal in here. That's that. And then we're going to add a reference. This snake case convention comes from shared extensions. Shared extensions. Oh, are they all part of shared extensions? Whoops. Shared kernel. Okay, they're all part of shared kernel. They're part of foundations. Interesting. So the kind of shared kernel that I have across the projects and shared kernel that I have across the entire application stack, which is in this case Liquid Sky and Control Tower, which make up Kaizu. So yeah, okay, so there we go. This will deal with the this adds the ability to handle my naming switching, so that if I do use SQL Server, but then I switch out for Postgres or vice versa, I don't have that much to change. This will deal with the two snake case. All I have to do is remove that, and then SQL Server can be used again if I choose, in theory. It's a little bit more complicated than that. So we have that, Now we need a repository, and that is just simple. Why is the mediator outbox here? That's not right. Guess we'll find out. So let's go and okay. So shared. Let's try this. GitHub repository. Okay, it's in the shared kernel. Okay, so that's a shared thing. Okay, so that's the repository. So now we have, what else do we need to do? Database configuration. Yes. So we'll add a database configuration. So here, and that's going to be GitHub DB context, GitHub. That's going to be there. GitHub repository. Right, yeah. So reference infrastructure, that's all done. In our app settings, we can have connection strings, and that's going to look almost identical. The purpose of the configuration is that it can all be pretty much GitHub. The password comes from a local secret, so you have to have the local secret, the environment variable set up. Sorry, so that's just to make sure that it doesn't get put into the repo. And it actually doesn't matter, like, if it's the same password, just gets used everywhere. I think I made the modification to the scripts to pull that from the environment variable as well, but that's something I need to do. Which means that on your development machine, you just set that password up, and then once you check out the code, everything will be brought up with it. Okay. So the idea here is that, well, let's just stub out the rest before I finish up for the day. This will features. Um, um, this will. I'm thinking what we'll do is branch. This is interesting. This will be publish branch created. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the types of the messages I'm going to get from GitHub. But either way, let's go with this. Let's go with publish branch created right this second because it's the simplest thing. So we'll have arguments in here, handler, and iRepository, GitHub, iRepository of webhook, idempotency, log repository, and this will iCommand handler of command result. Actually, that should be iCommand result. That will then in here check to see if we've seen the event. If so, return okay. So everything's good. It will then publish to Kafka by the outbots because again we got that stutter. Branch created, and then it will persist the log to make sure we don't reprocess that event again. That doesn't account for the fact that that message could come in multiple times and be processed in parallel either. So I assume that when the robots are telling me, here, use this method, that they've got some idea of blocking or otherwise there. So yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the path we're heading down. I was hoping to get more of this stuff done, but once I started digging in, I realized how much work it's going to be to integrate GitHub properly. I could have just used webhooks and not used apps, etc. But the idea being that you're able to go into Kaizu, say add GitHub, it will open in GitHub and say, hey, um, do you want to provide access to Kaizu to your organization? You say yes, and now we can see the branches uh, and the PRs. So I think it's a much smoother path, even if it's going to take me several days to get this figured out. And there's a lot to do, right? But I think it will be, by the end of the week, I would hope that I've got enough working that we can start to see the GitHub integration. So, yeah. Okay, however, that is me. That is my time for the day. Is anyone streaming? I don't know. Anna is streaming. Does Anna want the stress of more viewers? Just getting back into it. She's been working on many things, as always. Yeah, let's go raid Anna. So, thank you for joining me. I will be back on. I probably will be back on Wednesday morning at this point. I'll try and make at least 3 streams a week. My Wednesday evenings are not going to necessarily be guaranteed, but we might have a Wednesday morning and Wednesday evening one, depending. And I'm going to continue trying to work on this in the background and see if I can get some semblance of understanding of what these events are. I've got a feeling that a lot's going to change. I think I need to get this piece working, and then need to jump to the other piece of adding the application into my GitHub, and then create a dummy repo to which I can create branches and PRs and stuff without making a mess. I don't want to link it to anything real, right? Otherwise, it's just going to become really messy for the time being. So, yeah, that's me for now. Have a great rest of your day. Let's go read Anna, and I will see you all soon. Bye all.